Now, if we understand now these three brains and the way they function, I would like to go back to the notion of imprinting. Imprinting is a key element of the creation in our mind of the archetype, of the mental structure, the cultural mental structure that we're going to use again and again and again. I could call that mental highways. We create connection in the brain that we're going to keep using again and again during the rest of our lives. How do we do that? Well, the very first experience we have as a child, when we're born, are very strong, imprinted through the reptilian, because the reptilian is almost the only part of the brain that is really active here. And this already, the program is there already. We know that inside means mother. We know that warmth is important to survive. We know that we have to breathe. I mean, this is not knowing in terms of cortex. It's just a program that we have at the reptilian level. And if this program doesn't work, we're dead. So there is no choice here. Now, the second brain is the emotion. Emotion is a key element because it gives us some signals about the good and the bad, the survival and the no survival, what is going to survive and what is not going to survive. I believe, and that might be a little surprise to some of you, that love has been invented at a certain time because it gave more chance, first, to the little children to survive, and second, between men and women, if the men stay around and love the mother, once again he will protect the children and the children will have more chance to survive. So this is again survival and reproduction and taking care of my genes. And so love, emotional dimension of love, was created to maintain the contact, to create a duration. The reptilian is very short term. Done, I'm gone, it's finished. But because of the limbic, then suddenly the parents has to stay around longer. They get more involved in children. We have data that prove that children that are loved by their parents have more chance to grow, to be sane, and to survive than the ones that are not loved by their parents, which sounds kind of obvious. So the limbic as a function, again, the reptilian is primal here, but the limbic as a function to help the reptilian. Then the next step is the cortex. The cortex, again, is supposed to bring the rational dimension to help you to have more chance to survive and to reproduce. The problem with the cortex is that because it's a program to control, to slow down, sometimes it goes too far in this direction. And we have too much control, then we don't have the spontaneity anymore. The conflict there is absolutely amazing, because when people say, give me a good reason to believe. A reason to believe. Why do I need a reason to believe? If I believe, I believe. A reason is a cortex. Believe is a limbic. Why should I need a reason to believe? And that's kind of surprising. Give me a good reason to love you. Well, do mothers have a good reason to love their children? Mothers just love their children. Why? This is reptilian. You don't need a reason. And the reptilian always wins. It's very clear that whatever your child is going to do, whatever your child is going to react to or whatever, you're going to love your child. Why? Because this is your child. This is your genes, and your program is survival and taking care of your reproduction here. So the conflict between the three, the cortex, the limbic, and the reptilian, it's absolutely amazing. I would like to give you a few examples about the reptilian and why the reptilian always wins. I was lecturing in Switzerland at a school, Polytechnicum School of Engineers. And I'm sure some of you are familiar with the engineer mind, how engineers think. They're very cortex. They're supposed to be very cortex, controlling numbers, everything. And I was teaching in this school, and one day one of my students, an engineer, came to my office and told me, "Doctor, I have some news for you." I said, "Well, what is it?" "Well, I would like to get married. I'm going to get married." "Oh," I said, "Well, this is great. I mean, do you know already your future wife?" And he said, "No, not yet. But I have a plan. I have a strategy. I have a critical path. I know exactly what I want to get. I have a deadline. And I have 185 specifications. I have my list of specifications. And now I'm going to start working. And I will let you know. I say, wow, this is interesting. Good luck. Let me know when you find her. A few months later, the same guy came and said, Doctor, that's it. You are invited to the wedding. I say, oh, great. Did you find the woman that has the 185 specification? And you say, no, she has none, but I'm in love. That's the big thing. The reptilian always wins. The cortex will tell you all the specification. And that's an intellectual approach to reality. But sometimes, when you meet the right person, the reptilian is, whoa, this is it. I don't know. I can't control it. This is it. This is it. She doesn't have any of the specification, but I'm in love. Another example I would like to give you is in terms of communication. If you have a reptilian hot button, you're going to win. If the others don't have any reptilian hot button, they only have cortex, they're going to lose. In terms of a product, in terms of a service, in terms of the image of your company, the reptilian always wins. When people tell you, oh, switch, you want to switch, I give you $10. Now I give you 25, I give you 35, I give you 55. And you keep switching because numbers don't create loyalty. You don't buy loyalty. Now, are you going to have the same attitude toward your mother, toward your children? No. Why? Because this is reptilian. The loyalty is there, is a gene thing, is stronger than anything. Let me give you an example. Chrysler had a problem with the back door, actually the latch of the back door of the minivan. And I was working with them at the time, and the top people told me, we didn't do anything wrong. We have all the data, we have all the numbers, we know that this is right, there is nothing wrong with this door, right? And so we're not going to pay anything. That was a cortex reaction. We have the numbers, we have the data, we have the scientific dimension. When they had the trial, the woman that had lost her child came and she had just one thing, a reptilian picture. She has a picture of the child that died. And she was crying and she said, my child died. Right. When you have the reptilian versus the cortex, the reptilian always wins. It doesn't matter what was the reality, the numbers. She got, I think, $185 million award. I mean, you don't need to explain, this is it, this is a reptilian. If you don't have a reptilian dimension, you're never going to win. So, understanding the reptilian is absolutely crucial. We have reptilian words, we have reptilian attitude, but the reptilian will always win. I want to share another thing with you. It's a story that is quite well known about Olin, and that I'm just sharing with you what was published in newspaper and magazine. P&G came up with a product called Olin, Olestra, and it's an oil that doesn't bring you any fat in your body. So it's kind of an ideal product. You can eat all the potato chips you want without having the danger of eating some fat. Now, P&G had like 25 years of research, tons of books published, all the numbers to prove that this Olin product was not more dangerous than eating just regular beans or regular salad. The problem was the enemy had one word, but this word was a reptilian word. He was not arguing about numbers. He was just using one word. When P&G was in the cortex, he was in the reptilian. What was this word? The word was diarrhea. That's it, diarrhea. Now, he had one witness. Oh, Mrs. Brown, tell us, you did eat yesterday some potato chips made with Olin. Tell us how you spent the night. Well, I spent the night in cramps in the bathroom and I was terrible, and that's it. He was winning. Why? Because you cannot fight the cortex. You cannot fight the reptilian with the cortex, and the reptilian always wins. So what can we learn out of that? I think that the marketing strategy and the communication strategy should always take into account the three-brain theory. Your number one purpose should be to discover the reptilian hot button that you can use. The reptilian hot button, like for example, the aroma for Folger coffee, another famous story. What is the aroma here? Aroma is reptilian. Aroma is part of the rhino, the rhinoceros, the nose, the rhinencephale. This part of the brain was called the rhinencephale, rhino, before. And so nose, smell, very powerful. Taste is acquired later. So we know that the aroma is stronger than the taste. Then if you can own the aroma, you are in a better shape than your competitors. So always try to discover a reptilian hot button for your product, your service, or your company. Second, try to understand the logic of emotion. And it sounds like contradictory because it's emotional, but there is a logic. There is an order of things. Think about seduction. You have to do one thing in a certain order, otherwise you turn off people. So how to turn on people. And third, then you need the cortex. But the cortex becomes an intellectual alibi. The cortex is a rationale that you need in some ways to feel good about what you're going to do anyway. I'm going to do it anyway, but give me the good numbers to feel good about that. And so the intellectual alibi is not the key element of the communication anymore. The key element is the reptilian. The intellectual alibi is just an alibi. So why do you buy four-wheel drives in Manhattan? Well, just in case I need to go off-road in Manhattan, so the off-road thing is an intellectual alibi. Most of the people that buy four-wheel drive never go off-road. 97% of these people never go off-road, and they want to keep the four-wheel drive very clean and perfect. And so what is the motivation here? We know the motivation of four-wheel drive. They want to have to be tall and high. Why? Because they get a feeling of security. Now, if you use your cortex, security, when you're tall and you have a high vehicle, you have a danger of turning around, rollover. So this is not safe. It doesn't matter. The perception is what matters. The reptilian perception. If I'm taller, I have more chance to survive. So if you arrive with a little Pinto and you're drunk and you bump into my big sport utility vehicle, you die and I don't. That's survival. This is very simple. This is a jungle out there. That's what people told me. They want to buy a tank. They want to buy a Hummer. I even told the people that were making cars, I say, put a machine gun on top and you're going to sell it better. Why? Because it is a reptilian. I want to be strong. I want to survive. I want to fight. I'm going to kill you. You're not going to kill me. That is the message. Now then, all this dimension, I call that sometimes non-usage features, things that you never use, four-wheel drive. This is an intellectual alibi. The price is another intellectual alibi. Always. Numbers are always intellectual alibi. But give me the intellectual alibi to feel good about what I'm going to do anyway, but give me a good alibi. Give me a good excuse. Then I can do it and feel comfortable about it. Understanding the three levels, every communication strategy should have a reptilian, a limbic, and a cortex strategy. Sometimes the reptilian is just an image. We know that babies are very powerful. Let me give you an example. When we did the work for Michelin, the tires, look at this commercial. It's so reptilian. You have a tire and you have a baby inside the tire. What do you need to say? You don't need to say much after that. Do you need to say that you want to protect your children, that this is safe, that this is... No, you don't need to say all that. This is a reptilian message. The tire and the baby inside. Boom. Then after that we can say, oh, we did 20 years of research to create the best product possible. Cortex, give me an alibi. And the price is one of the best prices. Give me an alibi. But already I have the reptilian. To save your baby, are you going to negotiate the price? I mean, this is, where are the priorities here? If I want to protect my baby, I'm not going to go into the mood of negotiating the price. If I'm not involved at a reptilian, at an emotional level, of course I'm going to negotiate the price. So this is where we have to understand the priorities. People that are in advertising, they have to understand that there are sometimes reptilian messages that don't go into words. Sometimes images are more powerful, sounds are more powerful than words. Cortex is always words, and limbic is feelings and emotion. Once we understand the three brains, then we can have a very powerful communication and a powerful archetypal communication. And this three brain theory is completely connected with the way we imprint archetype in the brain.